Howdy, folks. Hope you're doing well. Hope you can hear me pretty well. Doing a couple of changes today, getting the setup a little bit different. I had a piece of equipment totally drop out of me. That headset mic is a dead duck. You guys might have seen it yesterday as I did the pregame Q&A. Well, yeah, it's toast. So for right now, today, we're just going to go back to the original setup. The lighting kind of is iffy at best, but it is going to be what it is going to be. And I'll continue to try to make it better from there. So let me break the chat out here and we'll get going. Going to go through my notes. I'm going to talk about what I saw, what I think. And that's really the gist of it. We'll do the Q&A, full Q&A like normal tomorrow night on Monday night. As we usually do. So that shouldn't be a problem at all. I'm going to drop this down here. Try to keep that consistent. And we're going to go through this because a lot goes on. And I think really you all saw the end of the game. That's what it comes down to, is that this team has a really, really great turn of events. Not only did they hold par and do what they had to do, but getting the Miami Dolphins, and I have a good friend that is a huge Fins fan, back and forth play-by-play with him all day long. Really, really impressive. That is a team that has struggled, but I want to say this, from the get-go, whatever you think that the Miami Dolphins are, they played hard all season long. They played for their coach. And I think you have to respect that. They certainly helped out the Chiefs in the end, and that's a big plus as well. But just the fact that you have that kind of losing season and you're able to keep it together as a coach, as a leader of men, that's really, really important. And I think their future is brighter than a lot of people might have thought, I don't know, 6 weeks ago even. So good for them. Appreciate the help. Lord knows they needed it. You guys might have seen anything. I've been preparing and trying to get this mic set up and everything, so I haven't seen any official word on what happened with Juan Thornhill. I'm waiting for that. If I missed it, you guys might be telling me in the chat. Maybe I did miss it. Aaron, let me know. And folks, another hand for Aaron Morrow, our mod. Hope you guys just treat him with respect. He'll help guide everybody through. He'll help point things out probably when I miss them, because you know that's going to happen. Waiting to hear official word on Juan Thornhill. So that's tough. He's played so well, and honestly, he's been coming on so well of late that's really just a shame. I hope that it's not what I think it is. I don't even want to say it out loud because it's a season-ending injury usually when it's a non-contact thing like that. So I'm not going to jinx it. I'm just going to keep positive vibes going. Hopefully that's not the end of his season. If it is, it's what has to happen. So, hey, I don't think it's going to hurt him for his career. Even if it were the worst case scenario, it's not going to hurt him for his career. It does hurt their chances somewhat this season. Yeah, it's been, Red 6. It has been a long week. It's been off the hook on my personal contact information. But Juan Thornhill's the standout. The Fins getting there. What the 2 seed means. Let's take a step back from that, because I have notes up and down like I always do. I can take you through the 4 quarters, but we got to talk about the bigger thing, and that is that your team has persevered. You take a quarterback that was the MVP last season, give him a high ankle sprain, dislocate his knee. What else? Bruise up his throwing hand. And you tell me if you get 12 wins. You tell me if you're able to compete for a bye week. And I'll tell you, you're crazy if you're anybody else but this kid. That's got to be, when you take the overall arc of the story of this season, that's it. Is all this went on. That is incredible for a team that is so quarterback driven right now and had such success last season. And I see a lot of questions, and I will get to your thoughts, you guys. But hold your questions until tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, we'll do the regular Q&A, and we'll treat that as we always do. But I understand your concern, so I will. Curtis, Jerry, I know you guys are all asking about the same stuff. So here's what it comes down to. We've seen Fuller start to play more and more safety. We picked up on that weeks ago, and I know I've been telling you guys about that. Now it seems everybody else is catching up. I know Seth Kaiser of The Athletic did a piece on it this week. Seth's a good friend. If you're not familiar with us on the Locked On podcast, he used to be a member of the show. And that is really too bad because we see things fairly similarly. We would overlap, but we have different takes on why things happen. Well, now everybody's catching up that Kendall Fuller can play safety. He's going to have to somewhat. They brought in Watts at the end, and I did make a couple of notes specifically about Watts bringing the physicality, and that's one thing that Fuller doesn't bring. Juan does a little bit, but as a rookie, I'm not concerned about that. But it's not overly physical. That's one thing that Armani Watts brings. And for those of you that were here all season long, you know that I prefer Watts playing in open field over Lucas. So I do feel like it's Fuller and Watts that might get some of those reps at the deep safety spot, or the one that tends to go deep safety more. I think that's going to be okay. It's not optimal. This does put a kink in the armor of the defense. Juan Thornhill's been playing very, very well for a rookie, and I'm about to lose power, so hold on a second. So many things going on. This is how you make the sausage. Things sometimes have to go crazy. And Christmas week this week has really thrown me for a loop, so thanks for your patience, you guys. There we go. We're plugged in and all is well, except I'm tangled up in it. Not a big deal. Juan Thornhill gives them a better chance to win than either Kendall Fuller or Armani Watts playing the deep safety. But that said, he's not perfect. He's not an all-pro. He's still a rookie. So it's not as big a drop-off as it would be, say, if this was next season. So that's something positive to keep in mind. And the experience that Juan Thornhill has gotten this season has set him up to be very good for a very long time. So that is again, another positive that I think we should focus on rather than the injury being negative. So Watts brings closing speed. He brings playmaking ability. In college, he was very good against the ball before he got hurt last season. Made a couple of nice plays on the ball. So I do like that aspect of it, of having Armani Watts at the back of the defense gives you options to get more hands on balls, get more, I won't say turnovers, but that's the goal. More PBUs than picks, but that's okay. That defeats the offense, so that's perfectly fine. The other interesting thing is that it, again, gives you more versatility. Fuller back there, I think, plays zone very well. He can come up. He can play the nickel. We talked about that. Same thing with Tyrann Mathieu. Same thing with Armani Watts. Armani Watts plays some nickel in college as well. So you have that versatility. That's another piece there. The only thing that I think the loss of Juan Thornhill, if he is indeed out, and we don't have that confirmed yet at the time that we're talking here live, the only thing that it does is it puts it a little bit tougher to see exactly what Dan Sorensen is going to do, because we all know that Dan can play deep, that they like to play him deep every now and then because they want to keep the versatility. But he belongs up to the line of scrimmage. That's where he plays his best, blitzing, helping against the run. He's not a linebacker, so I know there are folks that want to play dime all the time and leave him as a linebacker. Well, that's going to set you up to get beat up, especially against the Titans. So if the Titans were to win, I think we'll have to address that when we know who the opponent will be. But other than that, in pass coverage, I think it gives you more of a complete intermix where you can leave Sorensen in the box. Mathieu can go to the slot if he needs to, but so can Fuller. So can Watts. You have that back and forth. I would like to see them play more of a stacked triangle with one deep, probably Fuller, with Watts and Thornhill down closer in like a double robber or a triangle. I think somebody mentioned that on the broadcast today, that the Chargers were playing a double robber. That's kind of a shallow cover two is what it is, with somebody still over the top, and that works too. But Watts will help you with that. It makes it something that you can get through when you don't have your full complement. I was happy to see that Bashaud Breeland came back in. That's really important too, because he plays physical, he plays man, he can disrupt routes better than Travarius Ward. Ward is a speed cover guy, right? He shadows, he mirrors receivers down. While he likes to play man, and he doesn't disrupt, he's not strong enough to disrupt routes, especially like we saw against Mike Williams today. But that's Bashaud Breeland's game. He can't run down the field. He doesn't have the speed, so he does have to be more physical. He does have to disrupt the route at its inception more so. So at the end of the day, there's still a mix and match. But without one of them, without Breeland, I think it leaves Ward more susceptible. And they certainly went after Fenton right away, and I think that was a sign as well. You saw Ward get beat a few times today. I'm not going to harp on it. I still feel the same way I always do. I hope you guys see more of what I see, and you don't feel that I'm picking on him, because I don't mean to be picking on him. It's just that I see improvement that we need from Ward in order to be that number 2. But I do feel he's still making it. I felt he played better against Williams today than he did the last time in Mexico City. But again, there's some hidden things in there, incompletes, drops that go against what the stat line is. You can't just go by Ward's stat line. He gets beat more than the stats show in terms of routes. So you have to be a little bit concerned about that. But here's the plus. Ward is still improving. And I still feel that even after today. He is still improving. And that's where he has to go. He has to continue his upward slant. And the great thing is that he's playing well enough to be a number 2 right now against the likes of Phillip Rivers and Tom Brady and Lamar Jackson. He's played them all, so that's great. You don't have another echelon for him to get used to or get exposed to. He's played against the best that he's going to face in this league right now, and that's got him to the point where, like I said, I feel he's a number 2 corner. They can go into next season as a number 2 corner. That's perfectly acceptable. I still feel they need a number 1. We'll talk about in the offseason. But if they were to lose him or Breeland, it does stress the cornerback group, because Mo's still out hurt. Fenton had to play today. It leaves you thin there, and that presses probably what that means is more stress on Watts at the back, pulling Fuller back down into a corner spot. That's what it really stresses, and that could be something that can be problematic against a passing attack. It's not so much against Lamar. You have to have deep coverage because you have the tight end there, Mark Andrews, who actually helped me in fantasy quite a bit this year. You got to watch him. You got to protect against Hollywood Brown going deep. I told you guys about him pre-draft last year. He has lived up to the speed hype. He just doesn't produce consistently. So you have to have the deep threat covered when you play the Ravens. But that doesn't necessarily hurt you, because you have to play the run more so, in my opinion. So that goes back to guys like Reggie and Bednell, who both stepped up today, who both made plays today. They have to be there. And I think this showed more of what you have to do if you're Spags going into a contest. You have to have your guys that are run stoppers, the ability to stop it, whoever they are, whether it's Derrick Henry or Mark Ingram or whoever you might be facing. You have to be able to stop the run first, or it will kill you all game long. Beyond that, you have to have the deep coverage, and that's perfectly fine. In between, it's going to be all right. You can give up short, intermediate plays and still survive. You saw that. Looking at my notes, a couple of hiccups, a lot about those injuries. I have to admit I was watching specifically how that turned. Want to give a shout out to McCole Hardman. I think he really illustrates, and people get frustrated with it, but I think this was a good encapsulation of what Dave Toub's philosophy is and how he applies it to this team or any team that he coaches. And it's about taking shots. Even if they take it inside the 10, which I find a little bit bothersome, but definitely taking it out. I feel like that's what Dave Toub wants. He wants you to take chances. He wants to have the opportunities for the blocking to be done perfectly so somebody can rip it back. And I think that's what McCole Hardman showed you today. A couple others where he tried to wait to get an angle, and it didn't work out, and that's fine. But the more stabs you take at it, the more he's going to have an opportunity to really bust something. And I think that's important to the way that Dave Toub sees playing that game. So good for him. Damian Williams, this is the Damian that you wanted all year. But nagging injuries, not powering through injuries. I don't think he's a guy that's that resilient. I think it takes him. I'm a little bit concerned about how long it takes him to recover from injuries, to tell you the truth. But that said, that's all behind them now, because this is phase 3. Phase 1 is training camp. Phase 2 is the regular season. This is phase 3. Damian Williams is here for phase 3. He was last season, had his best games in the postseason. That's what he's here for. He looks spry. He looks like he's actually running with better power than he did earlier in the year. And he did drug Derwin Williams again. So I just wanted to remind everyone of that. I have that in capital letters over here on my notes. So that's a positive sign because that's going to help Pat Mahomes. The cover 3 today really kept things underneath until they tried to attack that deep safety. And that's when you got some of those longer passes. The one to Hardman in particular was attacking that safety. And you have to continue to do that, especially if they're going to try to play cover 3 and cover 4 and keep guys back. Okay, run the ball. You have to be able to run the ball. And then you take your shots. And you do it specifically by attacking how they're aligned. If you don't get the look, hopefully you can change the play at the line of scrimmage. If not, you're just going to keep hunting and packing until you get that look that you're looking for, and then you can take advantage of it. I do feel like Hardman and Hill are there for Mahomes, and it keeps everything running smoothly. That there's always a chance to drop one, and that hasn't changed despite all the injuries, despite all the changes, despite Hardman not having a whole lot of targets the last quarter of the season. Okay, it's still there. It's still there when you need it. You can light that fire, and it's available, and that's really key to what they have to do down the line. Is it the end all be all? No, there were problems today. Travis Kelce looked discombobulated at best and half-hearted at worst. The drops, again, him and Robinson, that shouldn't be happening at this point. The defense didn't look like it got caught off a little off guard. Chargers, and they're not going to change. I mean, they didn't change today. They will change eventually. Okay, looks like we're back. I had a little hiccup there. Hope you guys are staying in there. Two things about the Pats. They're going to have pass rush with Ingram and Bosa, and they're going to have a two-headed running back attack, and that's going to be worth it. It certainly proved that. Both those guys are free agents. We don't know if they're going to be there. So I'm not sure. I think I'm back on, so let me know if I'm not. I'll wrap it up here pretty quick just in case. And guys, I do have a new internet provider coming in. Hopefully by summer, this will all be taken care of and none of this will matter anymore. And we won't have these issues. But bigger thing, they let them get them. They let the run game bite them a couple times. They certainly let the running backs bite them in pass coverage a couple times. And then they locked it down. They got better as the game went on. You had players make plays. You had Suggs get his first sack. A lot of pressure, but hadn't gotten a sack yet. You saw Matthew make a really nice play. I mean, that was a heck of a play in the end zone to get that interception. Frank Clark got a lot of pressure and got home. Really, I think he might have even gotten his hands on that ball and pick sixed it if he had just gotten disengaged from that blocker a little bit earlier. I think he had a chance at it, but that's not Frank's fault. That's a target of opportunity there. So good for him. So you saw the defenders step up. I thought Hitch was flying around. I think this was the most attacking, most aggressive game I've seen from Hitchens this season. That again is another good sign. I thought Damian played pretty solid. Damian Wilson, that is. And then Reggie made his plays. Reggie played the run very well. He got after the passer when he had an opportunity. Didn't play a whole lot of snaps, but he did very well when he did. And that's a role player. He's not a starter, and that's okay. He can be a starter if you're going to be in the base, but nobody's in the base anymore, and that's okay. But he did what he had to do. He made plays when he had an opportunity. He helped this team win, and that's what it's all about because you have to play a complete game. The interesting thing is you're going to play these teams that you've played already, no matter who it is. Titans, Patriots are probably the two most likely. But you played the Texans. You know who they are. You know, you're going to have an opportunity to play a team again that you've faced already, and you have to go back to that film, and you have to exploit what you can exploit, and you have to find what they've done recently that opens up new things. Injuries change teams. They give you new targets. They give you new ways to exploit them, and that's going to be big. But the fact that they have film on these, they have played these teams before, that's huge. And I do feel like this fallout from the Patriots losing really sets it up well for the Chiefs to get to that AFC Championship game again. And then it's about, have you developed your defense as much as the Ravens have developed their offense? And that's what it comes down to, because the Chiefs were able to beat them before, but the Ravens have really improved. So have the Chiefs. on opposite sides of the ball. And that's going to be the contest that really intrigues me and is going to come down to it at the end of the day. So when we get to that, when we know what the matchup is, we'll dig in. I'll have some film for you this week. I'll try to keep them short. I am starting a new thing. If you guys haven't seen it, I'm doing the Chiefs in 5. It's kind of our 5-minute intro to the podcast. I'm trying to put that on this channel for days when I don't have content, when I don't have video, or I haven't been able to get to the film yet, so that you guys get something from me every day. And eventually maybe that'll become the podcast on here a couple of days, and we'll turn the other channel just into the beer thing. So I'm going to try to consolidate and make it easier for everybody to follow one channel and make life easier. So if you're not signed up, if you're not subscribed to the Locked On Chiefs podcast, go do that. Go over on Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts or wherever you get them, because we're going to have more. Chris was at the game today. We're going to record with him here probably in the next hour or so. We'll get that up tonight. So we'll have his firsthand thoughts as well. We will continue this week. We're having a great year, and I owe you guys a lot of thanks for helping me spread the word about the podcast and about the channel. We've had growth in both, and it's been wonderful. I don't know that we'll have another live before New Year's. So other than tomorrow night, we won't have another post game, obviously. We'll have tomorrow night's Q&A, and then I'll have pre-recorded video for you. So I just want to take an opportunity right now to say thank you to all of you that are here, all 250 of you. And I know the bandwidth sucks, and I know the picture doesn't look that good, but you hang in with me, and I really appreciate that. It's been a great year. We're at 11K now. We were at 6 last December, so we've doubled nearly. We're going to keep doing that. So that's thanks to you. The designers haven't finished the logos. I'm not going to have them up before the first of the year. So, but I do have something for Juan Thornhill. I do have something for Mahomes. I'll have new shirts come the beginning of the season. So you can help the channel that way if you want. That's perfectly good. We'll do the Q&A tomorrow night. So bring your questions, spread the word. We'll do a huge session tomorrow night, another hour. If I can get somewhere where I have better connection, I'll try to do that. I can't guarantee it though. Might mess with the background, but that's fine. Long story short, this is huge. Enjoy this win. Enjoy that there's an extra week off. We're going to see what the practice schedule is. I expect Reed to give them an extra few days off. We haven't seen that yet. We probably won't get that announcement until tomorrow, actually. I know they're meeting midday, so he's letting them sleep in a little bit. I think it's 11, he said, in his post-game conversation. So I'll let you know when I know more from that. We'll hit the podcast as well. If you have questions, get ready. Bring them tomorrow night. We'll go 7 p.m. Arrowhead time like we always do on Mondays. And I intend to do that most of the off season. There might be a week here and there where I go on vacation or something like that. But you guys want to follow the off season as well as the playoffs, and I'll be here too. So thank you for all of your time today. Hope you enjoyed that game. Those of you that were there, I hope you're warming up. Looked like it was a little chilly to me. I'll have more for you tomorrow night. Be back here at 7 p.m. Arrowhead time, and I will talk to you then. Thanks.